I don't feel like I'm in control of my finances. I just don't like my finances being in the hands of, other people. Okay, how do I take or create another income stream that I am in more control of? And for me, that is a clothing line.
Before she was a fashion star, Vanessa Chen thought she wanted to become a software engineer.
I was actually in a web dev internship at the time, and it was obviously remote. During those mass company-wide meetings where your camera is off, I would just go off to the side and start filming fashion videos.
One day, she realized she had to follow her passion. Today, she makes content around what to wear to over 4 million subscribers, and she's just getting started. She recently launched her own line of fashion and clothing.
Clothing for me helps me channel confidence because true confidence comes from within. It can help and it can aid in bringing that inner confidence out into the surface.
My name's Eric. I'm co-founder of Karat. We help creators like Vanessa with their finances. Join us today for 36 questions to fall in love with Vanessa Chen, aka Vivacious Honey. I'm here today with Vanessa, also known as Vivacious Honey, one of the top fashion creators on the internet today with over 4 million followers, and also launching her own clothing line known as Rain. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. Thank you for
Beautiful.
the introduction, Eric, and thank you for having me on this podcast.
Of course. I'm glad to catch you in sunny LA. And
I mean, not
just
right
say,
now, but yeah.
A little overcast LA, but your blazer, so strong, so pink.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
I tried to go for something that seemed a little sophisticated, but also fun at the same time. So I thought this was perfect.
I feel, given that you are known across many as having good fashion and style sense, all eyes on you for what you wore today.
Thank you. I thank you for saying that. I hope my fashion sense is decent.
One of my friends once told me that fashion and style, it's like being yourself, but intentionally. And I'm curious for you, when did you get a sense of, well, what Vanessa wears is partially a bit on who Vanessa is? When did that come through for you?
Yeah, so I have always been very interested in fashion. Ever since I was 10, 11, 12, I would be drawing in my sketchbook of designs that I thought would be really cool to wear one day. Wow. I think it all really peaked though when I had my emo phase. And no. I know I'm wearing bright pink right now.
Yes.
But me in middle school, okay, so picture black panda eyeliner all around,
Wow.
chains everywhere.
You're still wearing chains.
Yes, but it was very catastrophic. But I think that period of my life really allowed me to express myself and just kind of experiment and not really give. Am I allowed to swear?
Of course. Yeah, you can.
I wanted to make sure.
We're going to keep it real here, Vanessa. Tell me all about your little goth emo face.
I know. So I guess it's that phase of life where I just decided to not give a what people thought and what I wore. And I think ever since then, it kind of just shaped me and my fashion sense.
So what did you wear? So how old were you when the emo phase started?
I think it was probably between the ages of 12 to 13.
Okay. So before age 12, what were you wearing?
So I'm the youngest of 3 children. And so I used to just get hand-me-downs only from my oldest sister. So I don't know, whatever she kind of just passed down to me. But I know that I felt really restricted, right? Because there were her choices or my mom's choices because she bought them for my sister. So I remember I would get very DIY and cut up a bunch of things. And I would get in trouble sometimes at school. They were
Wow.
oh, you don't look presentable. I don't know, but
Were you doing short shorts and spaghetti straps and all that stuff?
No, but I will say, so one time we went on a field trip to DC for 8th grade or whatever. And we all had to wear these horrendous yellow shirts. They were bright, puke colored yellow. And all of us were in them. And I was this isn't really it. And so I was how could I make this cuter? So I cut out these little triangles across the collar. And I was okay, this is pretty cool. And then I got in trouble and I had to change. So that's a little story.
So you were a little bit of a rebel.
Yes, I was, much to my mother's great despair I was.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
And so what prompted the decision then to go full emo at age 12 or 13?
I don't know. Like, I think just like a lot of regular teenage angst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the music that I was into that I got like introduced
Like
to.
My Chemical Romance, like Fall Out Boy.
Paramore,
Paramore.
Evanescence, Black Veiled Brides, stuff like that. Yeah. It was intense.
And I'm so curious. So you start dressing all emo. You start expressing yourself. What stopped it? Because you're not wearing that now. Your fashion sense is totally different from what I can see.
Well, correct. Sometimes I will say when I get really like, this is kind of a tangent, but when I get really anxious and like stressed out, just like in general, I always resort back to my emo music.
Yeah, me too. Black Parade.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think that's funny. So I think deep down that like little emo angsty kid is still in me. And I think sometimes it kind of pops up in my fashion. But I guess in general, I just got out of the phase just because, I don't know, the angst kind of died off. I realized that, you know, giant panda eyes weren't really suiting me. So I think it was just like a natural progression.
Wow. The first time that I saw your content, because you've been blowing up everywhere, what struck me was your confidence.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that you absolutely went through a phase of anxiety. And both of us said, even before recording, like, we're on a podcast. It's like, ooh, like.
Oh my God, I'm sweating balls right now.
I am sweating as well.
I'm pretty sure my mustache is sweating. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's hot in here. But I'm just pretending to keep it composed.
Well, that kind of answers my question. I was going to say, that confidence, do you feel it? Is that the Vanessa you think you are today?
So that's kind of like a tricky question, right? Because I feel like, you know, how I portray myself online, right, is very, like you said, confident, powerful. I don't give a fuck. But like the real Vanessa, I do get very anxious. I do get very stressed, especially when I'm not in control of the situation, right? Like even right now, I'm not in control of the cameras. I'm not in control of what you're going to ask me. I don't have a script in front of me. And so those are moments that I get anxious. And so I do feel like clothing for me helps me channel confidence. Like if I was sitting here right now across from you wearing like sweats and stuff, like I don't think I would feel as comfortable and confident and like ready to go. But at the same time, I don't think clothing should be used, or anything should be used as a crutch, right? Because true confidence comes from within, and clothing and whatever else, even like makeup, the way we change our appearance, it can help and it can aid in bringing that inner confidence out into the surface, but it shouldn't be what you rely on 100%, if that makes sense.
I love that. I, very similarly to you, feel most confident when I'm more in control of what's happening.
Definitely.
And in some ways, even the setup, it's something I'm familiar with. So I feel that little bit of extra comfort. And I love the way you describe, well, this is a new environment for you.
Yeah.
But what you can't control, what you can control is how you're portraying yourself and what you're wearing. And even when I ran into you downstairs, you'll recall I was in my pajamas. I felt that too. I was a little like, oh no.
Wait, really? That's
I was
funny.
like, okay, I'm going to say hi and be a real
I
human
didn't think
being.
twice. I mean, this is like your house. So I was just like, oh,
But like
okay,
still,
whatever.
it's to the point you said, right? Sometimes I think how we portray ourselves, you're right, it shouldn't be a crutch or replacement, but like it can help.
Yeah.
I also love how not only had I seen your content across my feed, but I remember reading an article about you in Business Insider
Yes.
that talked about your story, your journey, where before doing what you do today, you actually had a totally different career path.
Yes, completely different trajectory.
If
yeah,
I recall,
for sure.
was it software engineer?
It was, yeah, computer science. Just like bachelor in computer science. So yeah.
Well, I got to ask, so why computer science and what prompted the change?
Yeah. So growing up, I have always been very creative. And so that's always been like half of me, I like to think. And then the other half of me is very logic based and like problem solving in a sense. And so when I first went into college, I actually enrolled as a graphic design major. It was very difficult at first to convince my parents to let me do something I don't know if you can relate, but I feel like
100% Asian.
yeah, yep, exactly. So like Asian parenting, like, oh, you have to be a doctor, computer science, or, something that's going to be stable, right? But after some convincing, they let me kind of just like follow my heart. And I realized like it wasn't 100% for me. Like I liked being able to exercise my creativity, but I didn't feel like I was like really pushing myself and like struggling. Like I would literally leave class, go home and just like watch Netflix. Like I didn't have that much homework. Like I don't know. And I've always been very academically driven throughout, like high school and everything. And so I thought to myself, my brother did comp sci, my uncle, my aunt, my brother-in-law, like I have all these computer science people, in my life. And I'm like, you know what? Like maybe I just try it out. I took my first coding class. At the time, like I fell in love with it and I just decided to make the jump.
Wow.
So that's kind of how I got into computer science. And I will say that I did enjoy it. Like if, I wasn't a content creator right now and I went down that path, like I do think I would enjoy my life, because it did push me. And like, I think the greatest thing you can do, like people's purpose in life, at least from my viewpoint, is to do things that are difficult. That's how you find the greatest, success, is pushing yourself. But then things obviously took a little bit of a turn. So it was during quarantine and I was actually in a web dev internship at the time and it was obviously remote. And I'm not gonna lie, like during those like mass company-wide meetings where like your camera is off, I would just go off to the side and like start filming fashion videos instead and not really pay attention. And then it kind of just blew up from there. And that's, ever since.
The point you made with difficulty comes meaning. I like that a lot because before co-founding Karat, I worked similarly in giant big companies. And I realized like anything you do, there's going to be a part that's like not fun that you don't like. And I think freedom and meaning comes when at least you get to control the type of challenges that you're going to face. Because like at a big company, there's like lots of issues and they're kind of just thrown your way and you don't really have control. And now doing my own thing, there's still so many things that I'm extremely stressed about, but at least I can tell myself like I chose this.
Yes, correct.
And I'm curious for yourself. So I'm also noticing you have this really high awareness of what's working and what's not, right? You start off as a graphic designer. You've always been interested in the creative part. You previously were drawing sketchbooks. Like, hey, like I'm going home and I'm watching Netflix. Like this isn't something that motivates me enough to go through the challenges of becoming a successful designer. You switch to computer science. You're like, hey, I'm on like pandemic era Zooms and I'm filming fashion videos. What prompted the decision to make it go full time and just go for it?
It was something that I was actually very passionate about, right? Like, yeah, I like graphic design, I like coding, but you're right, that's not what I was doing in my free time. I was doing fashion videos instead. But I think what honestly made it a viable career choice is the fact that it's a career that you can make a lot of money if you play your cards right. And at the end of the day, like being a content creator isn't just like, oh, I'm going to take pictures of myself and like selfies and just make a ton of money and a ton of followers. Like there is strategy to it. And you are an entrepreneur and you are like your own business. So it's essentially like running a business. And so when it became financially viable, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to make the jump. And that's when my mom was like, yeah, you go for it. Now that I see it's something that like, you can actually live off of.
So she was even like, wow, you've proved this to me. Like this is viable.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. I remember, because I started while I was still in school, right? It was during that summer internship between, I think, my junior and senior year. So, or maybe 2 summers ago, whatever. But I remember I actually got another internship the following summer. And I actually decided to decline the offer and just pursue content creation full time that summer. And this was at the point where I was making a decent amount of money. And so I felt comfortable enough, to make that jump. For my mom, she was definitely like, super hesitant. And honestly, rightfully so. Like this career is so brand new. especially to, someone of a different generation than me.
Right.
And so, there's a lot of fear of the unknown. So I understand why she was very fearful, and the fact that, there isn't stability like having a 9-to-5 job. And so she was really worried, and she was like, oh, maybe you should call the company back and ask for like the internship position again. And I was like, no, Mom, trust. Like, I got this. Like, don't worry. Like, you'll see. And that summer I did end up making far more than I would have made with that internship. And so after that, she was like, okay.
Like, damn, you're good at this.
I hope so. I think so.
When did you realize, like when was your first brand deal? Like, when you're like, by the way, like, I like your content, like the fashion choice, the confidence, the editing. Like, did you know how to do all of this already?
Oh, no. All of it was self-taught. Back in high school, I actually worked as a graphic designer, like internship role. And they also wanted me to dabble in video editing for like the company. And so that's kind of where I started watching YouTube videos and figuring out how to use like the editing software and everything.
Like, your transitions are so clean.
Thank you.
Like, obviously I am not, let's put it this way. When I watch your videos, I'm not like, I'm going to go buy that and try that tomorrow. Right? Like, that's not what caught my eye, but like the transitions, I was just like, how does she do that? And I could just like watch them. And it's something you had picked up earlier in your journey.
Yes. So I would say with transitions and just editing in general, it wasn't like one day I woke up and I was like, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to get really good at it. Let's watch a bunch of YouTube videos. It was definitely like a slow progression, right? So I would start with like if you look back at my feed, I'm sure every creator, every person on the planet, when they go back at their history, they're like, damn, this sucks. And so that's kind of how I feel. But like, it's kind of cool seeing that progression. You can quite literally see, okay, this is when I start introducing zooms. This is when I start introducing like sharp cuts. Like, you can see like every step of when I want to experiment with something and like what stuck and what didn't. So it was definitely a slow journey.
It's like the evolution just through your body of work. You can see like, here's how I've grown. Yeah.
And I think that's like the great thing about, the internet and just like technology in general. It's like, no matter what you're doing, like even if you're into fitness and you want to start, taking photos of yourself and seeing that progression, it's like so easy to, just like write down and see that progress.
I love that. And so now, how long have you been doing the full-time content creator game?
So I graduated in December of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. What's that math?
Like a year and a half?
Yeah.
Oh no, we're letting people know when we're filming this. We're also in Los Angeles. They're going to find you.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
I'm at the Karat house.
Mysterious, unknown location. So
yes.
What's next?
A lot.
Yeah.
So much. I don't even honestly know where to begin.
What's the dream?
The dream. Okay. So I would say being a content creator influencer is not my end goal. It never has been. It got to the point like, yeah, I'm making great money. Yeah, my job is great. I have all these great experiences. That's amazing. And I'm so grateful for that. But I don't feel like I'm in control of my finances. My income fluctuates depending on, how well my socials are doing that month. Like, is it Christmas time? Because that's when, brands get more of a budget. Like, is there a recession going on? Because then brands have less of a budget.
There is a recession going on.
Exactly. And so, like, because I would say like 99, I kind of made that number up, but like a vast majority of my income comes from sponsorships, comes from these third-party brands who want me to, try on this jacket and like, show how to style it. And that's amazing. And again, I'm so grateful, but I'm not in control, right? Like, I can't dictate, okay, like if I work, like, I don't know. I just don't like my finances being in the hands of, other people. And so the next big thing for me is, okay, how do I take or create another income stream that I am in more control of? And for me, that is a clothing line. Snap.
Pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
If you're watching this now, it's because it's been released and it's public. But as of filming, it's actually a secret.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. So how did you come up with the name Rain? And what's the vibe? What's the theme of this?
Oh, yeah. So a lot to unpack here. So Rain, to be honest, I was thinking, okay, I want this to be something that's meaningful to me to some extent. So my name in Chinese, it means rain. It's kind of cute because like my brother, my sister and I, we make up like the water cycle. Like one of us is rain, one of us is cloud, one of us is like mist. So it's kind of cool. But anyways, so I was like, okay, rain. And why don't we just switch up one of the letters and just make it a little bit spicy? RAYN.
Yeah, you know, just a little bit of flavor.
Just a little
Switch
bit
up that vowel.
something.
I to Y. Why not?
Why not? It looks
Yeah.
nice.
Wait,
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, I am Chinese American, but my Chinese is so bad. Is rain yue? Is that moon? No.
I can't even pronounce it. My Chinese is also so terrible.
I know how to say in
No,
Spanish. Rain in Spanish is
you-
lluvia.
Yeah, it is.
But
But
I don't know in
no,
Chinese.
well, Mandarin or Cantonese? Do you speak?
Mandarin.
Yeah, Mandarin. So my name, I could be butchering this. So anybody who's like fluent, like I'm so sorry.
We're going to get all these
My
comments.
parents, I'm so sorry. I can't even say my own name. Chenling Yu.
Yeah, I knew it was like a Y. You.
No, but yeah, but I can't get all of like the little.
It's like the U with the dots or you.
I think, but like also one of them sounds like fish.
Yeah, that's also you. Now that you mentioned it, I was
Sometimes
like,
I say my name and they're like, my parents are like, you just called yourself a fish, and I'm like, I'm sorry. You should have sent me into Chinese school. I don't know.
It's
What
like,
to
why
tell
did you name me such a confusing name? God, jeez.
But yeah, so that's the story behind the
I
name.
mean, my own name, I also like, it's Wei Tao Sheng, but like, I don't know how to write it. Like, I don't know the
can't write.
tones.
Does it have like a meaning?
So not really, but like each character like kind of has a meaning.
Mhm.
So, you know, if you like piece together, my mom once told me that you could interpret it as brilliance of the ocean waves.
Oh my God, that was poetic. Wow.
Sure, all the commenters are going and be like, no, it means piece of you dumb.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Are you fluent in Chinese in
Oh,
general?
no.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's very interesting. It's a one-way street. So I can understand it for the most part. Like basic elementary. Like when
Same.
my parents talk to me, I
Go take a shower, go do homework,
yeah,
go eat
come
food.
eat, go away.
功课，吃
Yeah.
饭.
Yeah. So I can understand it, but it's so difficult for me to say it back.
Yeah.
It's like it translates immediately in my head, but I can't translate it back. So it's like super
I'm the
weird.
same way. Literally, I can
That's
understand
interesting.
the things your parents tell you to do. I can't say it back. Anything beyond that, I'm pretty hopeless.
Can't write it. Yeah. No. But it's like so interesting because I feel like I've heard that a lot from like Chinese speaking people, but like I don't know, my Spanish speaking friends, it's always like a two-way street.
Yeah.
So it's like interesting that
I thought about this a little. So for me, at least, I grew up in Canada and Indiana, which like the number one concern from my parents, which, you know, they moved from Asia because they were really poor and they wanted a better life for their kids. It was not like, man, like I really hope Eric one day in his podcast is going to be able to like say his name with the correct enunciation. It's like, damn, like I hope he like assimilates and
yes.
like fits in and gets a job and isn't poor. So they actually specifically were really focused on me trying to learn the English language as much as possible than Chinese.
Were you born in Canada?
I was born in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah. And one day though, obviously years later, my mom did tell me once, she was like, gosh, like I really wish we had pushed harder on Chinese school. And I'm like, well, you know, that was my choice too, right? I also thought it was more important for me to learn to fit in.
But also like when you're a kid, you know, like kids don't want to eat their vegetables.
That's
Kids
true.
don't ultimately
Sometimes
like
they cut little triangle holes in their school-approved uniforms.
yeah,
and
exactly.
Go
we don't
walk
know.
off.
We don't know what we're doing. We look back and we're like, damn. So yeah, I think like my journey, or not journey, but like my upbringing was very, very similar for sure.
And you mentioned, so you said you have siblings. How many? You said you're youngest.
Two older siblings. Yeah.
2 older siblings, brother, or sister.
One brother, one sister.
Amazing. And are they creators?
No. So my sister is an RN and my brother, software engineer.
I love
So,
it. The path
yeah.
you didn't take.
The path I did not take, no.
Are they also fashionable?
I think my sister is. I think my brother, if you're watching this, my apologies. I think my brother is getting there. Getting there.
Oof. Vanessa's brother, my guy. I'm sorry. Sounds like you need
To
some
be
help.
fair, I do feel like it is. Well, it's like interesting, right? Because men's fashion is typically more restrictive. Like there's less options. It's less of like a thing. I feel like there's less content about it. So you could say it's more difficult, but also you could say it's easier.
Yeah, we have no excuse.
Exactly. Yeah. You pull up with the V-neck.
Oh my God. I literally have, I mean, those of you who've seen the podcast, I literally only wear like 3 things. I have like these 2 shirts and a tank top, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the
It makes it
wardrobe.
easy though, right?
Yeah,
Wake
but
up.
then sometimes one of my friends the other day was like, "You look like a hobo," and I was like, "I've been to content creator events in LA where I've been invited, specifically was invited, and I'd roll up, and the people at the door would be like, "Who do you know here?" And I tell them, and they follow me in until I got to that person because they'd be like,
Really?
see, the way it works in San Francisco, if you dress like a hobo, people are like,
Yeah.
he's a billionaire. But in LA, if you dress like a hobo, they're like,
He's a hobo.
he's a hobo.
I see. Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe you need to move.
Different vibes now. Been in LA now for a couple of years. Well, I'm curious, what prompted you, because you're based on the East Coast in Massachusetts. How do you end
Yes.
up there?
Born and raised.
Oh, wow. So you've
Yeah.
actually been in the state the whole life.
Well, technically, I was born and raised in New Hampshire, but it's like right on the Massachusetts border.
Okay.
So basically, Mass. Yeah.
I love that. And I know that you're also your fiance too. You're settling in Massachusetts. Oh my gosh. Wait, how did he propose?
Oh my God. It's like such a funny, wholesome story. So he and I were not like really into like really big, extravagant dates or anything like that. Like that's just like not our thing. So like we would much rather go to Shake Shack in the middle of the night in our PJs. So the day he picked up the ring, like he got it physically, he came back to our apartment. I was in an oversized pajama top and like my underwear. I was just like walking around the house as I do. And then he comes in, he's like, Vanessa, go put on some pants. And I was like, no, what the f? Like, why? I'm not gonna put on pants. And he was like, okay, that's on you. And so he had his like phone propped, like very suspiciously, like up against like our hamster cage. And then I walked out and I was like, why the f is your, I guess I don't think I was swearing this much or had this much attitude.
So
but I was
sassy.
Like,
You're like, you can't tell me to put on pants.
yeah, f you. But no, I was like, oh, like, why is your phone like literally vertically up? I was like, that's so stupid. It's gonna fall and break. And he's like, oh, you're so right. And he just took it and he like moved it when I wasn't looking somewhere else.
He just like puts it on the other side.
No, actually though. And so he just got down on one knee right there in our kitchen. I was in my underwear.
I love it.
And no, but I started bawling my eyes out. And I'm not a cute crier. Like I wasn't like, oh, the single tear just falls down my face. No, I was like, oh my God. I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? And he was like, yeah. And yeah, that's it. So it was very
Did
wholesome.
you know he was going to propose?
I knew he was going to propose within like a span of like up to like a year. So like I knew like in the vicinity, but I didn't know he was going to propose right then and there. But actually I did have suspicions because like a couple weeks prior, he was like, oh, Vanessa, I'm going to go to the gym with my mom. I was like, huh, you sure about that? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay. But they were actually ring shopping. So like I had a hint.
Was the suspicious part he's hanging out with his mom or he's going to the gym?
Well, here's the thing. The reason I was just like, oh, okay. And I like believed him is because his mom, shout out Tracy, I love you. She's so ripped. She's ripped out of her mind. Amazing shape. So she goes to the gym like literally all the time. So I was like, okay, I guess like that makes sense. Like sometimes they go to the gym together. So I was like, okay, I'll let it slide.
So he really got you.
He did. Yeah. He did.
Tried to prepare you, Vanessa. He said, put on pants.
He did. I didn't listen.
I hope they play that now at your wedding.
So bad. And the thing is, he like put the video on like 0.5x camera or whatever to like get the whole
so it's like
space.
really zoomed out.
Really zoomed out, but like you know how it distorts like the edges? My head was like at the top of the frame, so I looked like an alien, like really skinny with a big ass head, no pants, and like our cat was just like roaming around. But it was really, really sweet, and honestly, I wouldn't have had it any other way. And the thing is, if he had like proposed to me at like a nice dinner, I would have known. I would have been like,
too many tells. Like,
why are we going to? Yeah, like we never do this. This is weird. So it was perfect.
How did you two meet originally?
We met in college. He's also computer science.
That makes
so
sense.
yeah, lots of computer science in my family and such. So
And I kind of love too that now he's helping too with Rain.
he is. Yes, it's been amazing. So I am more of like the creative side, you know,
Of
like
course.
with
makes sense. The face on camera.
I'm the face. And
She's a star.
Yeah, so I do like the creative like designs and everything, and like once we actually have the products, I'll be making like all of the content and everything. And so he's more of like logistics and like talking to manufacturers and budgeting, all of the boring
The things required after you envision what you
yes.
need
See,
to have.
I bring it to life, and he actually makes it come to life,
that.
though. Yeah.
There's a saying, I think it was French, some French philosopher who's like, if you want to motivate people to build a boat, right? You don't tell them to go build a boat. Instead, you teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea.
I love that. Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
It is. It's all about how you word it. But no, the thing is, like, for him, that's the exciting part. Like, he couldn't care less about
he
like
likes
the design.
that part.
He loves that part. He's like a big numbers guy, like analytics. And so like he will rave on and on about like, oh, this is what I learned about Facebook ads and like how to read like the analytics and like the clicks and stuff like that.
Good for you, Jason.
I'm like, okay. And I go back to
I'm gonna do this.
No, but it's like actually great, like having that dynamic, and like we kind of are like two cogs or whatever the saying is, two cogs in the machine or whatever. So it's perfect.
Very cool. All right, so we're gonna play a game. So it's called We're Not Really Strangers, and the basis behind it. So it's based off a study the New York Times wrote about, where they had all these questions designed around vulnerability and reciprocity, and they found that many pairs of strangers who went through these questions at the end ended up becoming good friends. One pair actually even ended up dating each other.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so they're very meaningful.
That's cute.
I would love to go through a few with you.
Okay.
Where there's 3 levels. So the way it's going to start is I'm going to count down from 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm.
Once I do that, we're going to make eye contact.
Okay.
The first person, as if we haven't been doing that already. Ugh. The first person to blink or look away.
Wait, I'm really bad at like not blinking.
That's okay. So am I.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't sleep. Dry eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You'll probably win.
Okay.
The first person who blinks or looks away, they're going to pull the first question out of level 1. And we'll go through a couple questions from each side. Does that sound good?
Yes. So
All
you
right.
pull it out and the other person?
Yeah. You take the question and you read it to the other person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shall we?
Yes, but what if I just keep winning? Because you have dry eyes.
It's not how the game works, Vanessa.
Oh, okay.
We only do the eye contact for the very beginning part. It's not for
I thought it was every single one.
Every question, we will now stare at each other.
I thought that's what it was.
Honestly,
listen, you didn't clarify
this. It's
this.
true.
Okay.
You know, tell me you're not establishing the rules again. I
know.
saw you and Jason playing Taboo downstairs. I can tell you're a board game fiend and maniac now.
No, I actually get really, really competitive.
Oh, yeah. No, I can tell.
Really? Did you hear me swearing? You like came in the kitchen. I was like, ah.
I definitely did. Also, when I came up before we started the podcast, I'm like, who won? And like, usually people are like, haha, them or haha, me. And you were like, well, you know, if you like look at the technically, arguably I won. So it's like, interesting.
I actually don't think we did. But yeah.
But you're like, but if you look at it this way, then technically we did.
I'm very competitive when it comes to certain games. So.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's do it. Okay, I'm going to count down 3,
Okay.
2, 1, go. Wow, you're straining so hard. You're like squeezing your facial muscles.
I'm stressed out. I'm going to blink.
I blinked first.
Wait. No way.
Hey, wow. First you're like, hey, I'm really bad at this. And then you're like, wow, you're even worse.
Well, that was really short, though.
I gave you fair warning.
You did. Okay. All right. So that means
you should just feel good about winning, okay?
Wait, but how do you win the game?
You don't win the game. The goal.
Then why am I playing?
The real treasure is the friends you made along the way.
Oh, that. I want to win. Sorry, kidding.
You're like, so what do I get?
Yeah. Do I get the house?
Yeah.
Do I get the carrot house?
It's true. That's how it works. I guess, so far I've been winning and I get the house. But.
Listen. So I think if you want to make this podcast even more riveting for people to watch, you need to up the ante.
Up the stakes.
Yeah, you need to increase the stakes here. So I'm playing house or nothing.
For keeps.
For keeps.
Oh, I like that. Because, that's how it works in the United States. A podcast agreement is legally binding in the court of law.
Everybody listen up, okay? You guys are witnesses.
All our viewers, I promise I won't edit this part out. It's totally not going to jump from, let's play this too. We're playing this.
Yeah, so if I win, I get the house. And if you win, we're friends.
Those seem of like equivalent value, right?
I
like
think
any
so
good
too.
bet. You're like, I shall grace you with my presence in your life. So I'm down for this. Let's go. Are you ready then?
I'm ready.
All right, level 1.
So it gets more intense.
Yes, that's exactly the point.
Okay.
I don't like this question, so I'm gonna choose a different one.
But that's cheating.
No, it's
Can I
not.
see? What is it?
We're allowed.
You're gonna buy me a present. Wait,
Okay,
why don't you like this one?
Because it's a hard question. Fine,
okay,
I'll
fine.
answer it.
Oh, wait. You answer
All
it?
right.
I answer it.
If I were to buy you a present, knowing nothing about you other than what you look like, what would it be?
So you're buying me a present.
I'm going to buy you a present. That's what, it's a hard
Wait,
question.
Wait, I need to analyze this question. Wait. So you are a stranger buying me a present.
Yes.
You only know what I look like.
All I know is what you look like.
Is it what I think people would buy me, or is it what I want people to buy me?
I think I'm just saying what I would get you as a present
Wait,
if
you're
we just met
answering?
off the street. Well, it could go either way.
I thought I was answering this
You really are
question.
rules lawyering this.
I'm really confused.
Okay, I will answer this one. What present would I buy you if I just met you? I didn't know anything about you. I think it depends if I meet you while you're dressed in a pink blazer or if I meet you and you're in your pajamas and underwear at a Shake Shack.
Yeah. No,
I think those are different vibes.
That is true. Different vibes. Yeah.
So if I met you like this, I think I would be like, she has so much confidence. She doesn't need anything.
Oh, that's cute. No,
and if I met you in the
buy me a
Shake
car.
Shack, and if I met you in the Shake Shack in your underwear, I'd be like, here's therapy.
True. Here's some pants.
Yeah.
Please put them
well,
on.
actually, pants first.
Pants first. Therapy second.
Therapy, therapy is great, to be clear, but I think sometimes pants are more needed.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
urgent.
Urgent.
Yeah. All right, see,
Good
here
answer.
we go.
Okay.
All right, this time you pull level one.
Okay, but who's answering?
I think you read out the question, and we'll figure it out from there.
What is a dream you've let go of?
Ooh, okay, let's both answer this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll answer it first since you're asking me. What's a dream I let go of? You know, when I was younger, I used to be like, cool, by age 30, I need to be a billionaire. And I said that because I was like, life is so miserable because all I did was grow up with the expectation of being successful and getting into Harvard and working in finance and banking, and like friends don't matter, enjoying what you do don't matter. It's all about where you end. I was like, well, like the level of misery I have is so high that the only proportionate reward I could have is, God damn, I better be a billionaire by age 30.
I see.
Legitimately, that was the thought in my head. And obviously I failed, but I'm okay with that because I think that's actually a really toxic way to live life, to be like, well, things suck so much that to make it worth it, I need to have such a crazy sized outcome at the end. That's probably not going to happen. I think that's actually one of the dangerous points around hustle culture, which is like, oh, just like put it in. It's like, no. Like, as we talked about before, there's always going to be a part of what you do. But ideally, pick something where the part is something that you can tolerate, and the parts around it are things that you actually enjoy. So that was the dream that
I like that.
I let go.
That was good. That was fast.
Yeah.
That you thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to one up him, everybody.
Oh my gosh. No, just tell me your
No,
actual dream you let go.
Let me think. Okay, well, can it be a dream that I let go of and then re-picked up?
100%, Vanessa. You can interpret this as you'd like.
Okay, this is like art class where you just like interpret the squiggles on the page. Okay.
It's in the beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
So, I think for me, it's a quote unquote dream or like a goal that keeps shifting. For me, I do this thing where I tell myself, okay, I'm going to start making this much money. I'm going to get this many followers, and then I'll be happy. And then I will chill and relax and not work crazy hours every day and like want to cry. So I tell myself like, okay, these are the goals I'm setting. And once that happens, that's when I will be free, or like, you know, financially free, whatever. But then I reach those goals and then I'm like, well, it's not enough. I need more to feel fulfilled, more to feel safe. And then I reach those goals, and that just like keeps happening over and over and over again. And like, granted, I'm still very young, and granted, like my career has just kind of started. So I can't say like, oh, like, you know, looking back 40 years, I realized this pattern, but it's come to the point where like I'm realizing this pattern now, and I'm like, okay, this needs to stop. Like this whole dream of like work hard, play hard, right, is not going to work out for me. It's not realistic for me. I'm not built to just work, and then just relax. Because what ends up happening, like even on, let's say like a weekend where I'm like, okay, like this is going to be my day to just relax, I get anxious. I tell myself like, oh my God, I need to be doing something. I need to be doing something like productive or like emails, or, you know, it's really hard for me to like shut that part of my brain off. So instead of having this dream of like, okay, I want to retire at the age of like 30 or whatever, and then just chill, I think it's just like, I need to start making each and every day more manageable. Does that make sense?
I love that.
Okay, I don't know really if that answered the question.
No, it does, because if you don't start thinking about the day-to-day basis, It never stops.
It never stops. And it's so incredibly draining, and it's still a work in progress. But yeah, I think like even when I was like younger, even when I was angsty, you know, like telling myself, okay, when I'm 18, I can move out of the house and then I'll be happy. When I graduate college and I start having a job, like then I'll be happy. It's always like seeking happiness in the future. But I'm realizing like, no, I need to figure out how to make myself happy like now.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
like delayed gratification, the human being.
Yes. Yeah.
And when do you just get to feel the gratification?
Yeah. And I do think like that mindset is great for some people, right? Some people need to say like, okay, you need to grind now. Like this is your time. And then you can reap the benefits. But I just don't think I'm wired to be able to fully reap the benefits like all at once.
I get that.
Yeah.
Where do you think that started?
My upbringing. I think like, you know, having very stereotypical Asian parents that were like, if you don't have an A plus, then it's an F type of mentality. Also looking at my mom, you know, as I'm getting older and I'm kind of seeing her life through like my eyes now, I realized that, you know, we really do become our parents. Like everything that she does, it's like an eerie, like feeling. I'm like, wow, that's me. And like, there's a lot of regret that she has in her life. And I'm just realizing like, I don't want to have that regret. So she is also very much a workaholic. So she works 6 days a week overtime. She like, and like my parents are financially like stable, free. They're like basically close to retiring. They have a beautiful house like on the ocean. So it's not about the money. I think like, you know, when they came from China, they had nothing. And so there was always this fear of like, I need to just keep going. I need to keep earning or else one day it's just going to like disappear. Right. And so I was raised in that environment. And so I think I just kind of like adopted that mentality and like a fear of like, I need to just keep going or else one day it's just going to crash and burn. But I have to like sit back and be like, no, it's okay. You need to like live in the moment instead of just like kill yourself for a future. That's never going to happen.
I get that. It's the environment they grew up in is where everything could come tumbling down in a moment. So you have to, in a mindset of scarcity, collect, gather, build, amass as much as you can. And obviously you're their daughter. That's a really crazy point you said. We become our parents.
We do. It's terrifying. Sometimes it's like, whoa, looking back.
It makes sense. I just never thought of it that way. And I can see like a lot of what you said regarding that, gosh, it's never enough. I feel that as well. Right. And, you know, similarly, I've already accomplished more than I ever thought I would 10 years ago, to be honest. And I don't necessarily feel, I may feel a little better about myself, but not like that much better to the point I'm like, okay, cool. Like has to be internal self-work, has to be therapy because the achievement itself is never going to be enough. And I have noticed like, you know, there are a lot of ways that I'm beginning to emulate my parents. Like I can now see in myself, like my dad is the most stubborn ever. And like, I used to hate like when he just like keep going at me to do something. And like, I see that in myself now. Or like my mom's main focus, she was always going through life on how do I talk to people? How do I charm them? How do I ensure they like me and they're having a good time? And I can see that now in myself. And so it's, yeah, I've been thinking about that a little. It's like, what a good phrasing. It's like we grow up to become like our parents.
And I think it's up to us as adults to see that pattern and see, you know, here are the things that I like and here are the things that, you know, I think we need to try to change in ourselves because it's like perfect because if you see that you're becoming your parents, you see like their life and you say like, do I want exactly what they have? And like, I see my mom and she's not happy with her life as much as, you know, she could be. And like, I don't want that, you know? And like another thing too, this is kind of a tangent, but when it comes to like you were saying, like hustle culture and all of that and like pushing yourself and working hard, a lot of times people say to me, and this is something that I pride myself on a lot too, is that, oh, I'm such a hard worker, right? Like I push myself every single day. And you know, you get rewarded for that in society, which, you know, makes sense. But the thing is, I don't work hard for the right reasons necessarily. And so when people praise me, it's like, okay, for instance, for Jason, it's a bit harder for him to motivate himself to work really hard every day and do things he doesn't want to do every single day. And that's been something that he's been actively working on every single day. I see him start, you know what? I'm going to start waking up at 6 a.m. every morning and going to the gym at 7 a.m. every morning. And it was really difficult for him at the beginning to push himself to do something that he didn't want to do, that was challenging, right? And so to me, that's inspirational. Like seeing somebody see an aspect of themselves that they don't like, say like, okay, I want to change this. I want to become more motivated and disciplined. That's motivational. For me, I grew up like this. It was never a struggle for me to work hard. I'm not running towards a goal. I'm running away from fear of failure. So what makes me wake up every morning and work so hard isn't like, oh, I want to become more disciplined. Oh, like I want to grow as a human being. It's more like, oh, if I don't do this, everything's going to come falling apart. And so to me, that's not inspirational. Does that kind of make sense?
It does. Do you, in what you do, because from an external perspective, you have done a lot. Are there parts of yourself that you do find inspiring? The same way you can look at what Jason does and be like, I see virtue in this. Are there parts of yourself where you'd be like, no, I think there is meaningful virtue in here as well?
Well, definitely. It's like a double-edged sword, right? Like I love that I work hard, and I think it does say a good deal about you. I guess like another way you can see it too, another good example of like something that's good but also bad at the same time, is like working out at the gym, right? So like, again, I go to the gym very consistently. Like I take care of myself. People are like, wow, that's very inspirational. And that's amazing. Like that's what I want to do for people, whether it's fashion or hard work, discipline, going to the gym. Like I want to inspire people who are having a difficult time to go out and do it, right? But for me, I'm not going to lie, a large part of the reason I go out to the gym is because I have a lot of body dysmorphia.
Right.
And so I like in my head, it's not like, oh, should I go to the gym today? Like, let's do it because I need to practice that discipline. I need to stay healthy. A lot of it's like, oh, like I don't want to get out of shape. Like, oh, I'm so scared. It's like, again, it's like I'm running away from things. And that looks like on the outside hard work and discipline, but really like I'm just running away.
Yeah, I really get that. I have body dysmorphia as well. I mean, you saw me like go into the gym even right before our podcast, right? And I literally had a 5-minute conversation with you about carb cycling before the podcast even started. And I think it ties back a little to what we said before. If you're really free, you also get to choose the difficult tasks you want to take on versus, oh, well, like I have to. Like,
yeah,
Jason chooses to wake up at 6 a.m.
And that is cool.
And you feel, well, I'm going to the gym, but it doesn't feel as much like a choice. It just feels like,
Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah.
I get that. I feel that a lot too. I think for me, my broader goal in life is I'm trying to get to a place of more freedom to make choices rather than feeling not forced by other people, but forced by my own internalized worries and concerns. Like, I have to do this. I should do this.
Yeah, so it's definitely like a fine line. And again, the outcome is the same, right? So like
from an outside perspective, he's like, you're working out.
You're working out. Everyone's working out.
But you know the choice involved that he made versus what you didn't make.
So what I was saying is like it's a double-edged sword. It's like I still think that I can inspire people, right? They see like the results and the work you put in. Like if you do that, you can see results too with whatever you're doing. But I think for me, I just need to change my reasons for doing what I do. Like even content creation. Yeah, I love it. And it started out as a passion and I still do love it. But I'm not going to lie. Every morning I wake up and I feel like I have to.
Yeah, it's also work.
It's work. And like a lot of times it's like, yeah, it's like this, my own internal something telling me I have to. Like I tell myself, oh, I have to post 6 videos a week.
Yeah.
Who's telling me to do that? I'm my own boss. Who's setting my hours? I set my own hours. So even though, you know, I have the money and I have like the followers and like all this stuff and like you would think, you know, that gives you that freedom, but you don't get that freedom unless you give it to yourself. It's like I still feel restricted every day. Sometimes I still feel like I'm working a 9 to 5. And so for me, like 2023 is the year that I like really set boundaries for myself.
Are there things you do What in your life do you feel you do because you truly just choose to and you don't feel any obligation or pressure, or at least to a minimal degree, if any?
I like that question because like I feel like I'm such a control freak that it's very little aspects. But I would say like it's funny because Jason's always joking like, Vanessa, you need to get a hobby. Like I don't have hobbies. Like I work and that's it. But I would say I've been taking pole dancing classes. That's been really, really fun. And that's, I realize like when I go to classes, like pole classes or like spin classes, it's so amazing. You leave these classes feeling so like relaxed because for an hour of my time every day, I'm not thinking about work or emails or stress or
You're just
what I
gonna
have
follow
to
the class
film.
instructions.
And it's amazing. So I'm like, damn, I need to figure, and that's only a short-term fix. So it's like realizing like, okay, I need to feel this way every day at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Just like unwind. Yeah.
What do you think, as someone who's going through this myself then, as we're now in the middle of 2023, what are you finding that's helping shift that mentality a bit, or things that you're trying or that you want to try to help with that?
Number one is definitely delegating tasks has been incredibly helpful. So I recently hired a full-time assistant. Shout out Jane.
Yeah,
You're
Jane.
amazing, blessing. And at first, like Jason and OT were telling me like, okay, you need to get an assistant. Like you're working crazy hours and like this time could be better spent doing other things or even like mentally recuperating. And like, again, I'm such a control freak that I'm like, no, like only I know how to do these things. Like, oh, it's going to take so long to train somebody. Like, no. Yeah. I finally did it because I started having breakdowns like every day, just like crying and being like, I can't do this anymore. And it's been amazing. So yeah, like getting my time back. And I think also just like realizing that when I'm relaxing, you know how I told you I get this anxiety being like, oh, I need to do something productive.
Yeah.
Relaxing is incredibly productive. Like when I'm working back to back to back and filming back to back to back, like I lose my creative energy. It's just gone. It's drained. So if anything, taking a day off or just like the night or whatever, taking some time to just like chill and like release is actually more productive because it refills that.
And you're aware
flow.
of that now. It's almost like we got to force you to relax more, Vanessa, for your own good. Forced relaxation.
I love how I'm just like, I'm such a workaholic. But like, no,
but actually we're like, ha ha ha. But yeah.
No, actually, yeah. And so like, again, like I'm still young and trying to figure this out. So I'm definitely trying to like get everything at the beginning somewhat.
I get that.
Yeah. I just don't want to live like 4 years down and be like, why did I work so much?
And 4 years becomes 14 years, becomes 40 years.
Exactly, because my goals just keep getting higher and higher.
Yeah, because 4 million, right? 1 million, 2 million, all your followers, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, they're going to keep growing. But that might not change how you feel if you don't try other different things.
Yeah, I guess it's like, obviously, I'm, again, incredibly grateful for like the life I have and, you know, the followers and the support and the amazing community. But external factors cannot fill voids.
Internal changes are needed to fill internal voids.
Exactly. So I think it's like so interesting that like even like celebrity culture, let's say there's like a news story about like, oh, this celebrity has depression or something. I feel like so many people like on social media be like, oh, well, what do they have to be sad about? Oh, look at them. Like, oh, well, they have all the money in the world and they're rich and famous. Like, why are they so upset? And it's like, life isn't money and fame and like that can't make you happy. Like, yeah, that definitely helped. Like, obviously I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's so hard for, you know, somebody who isn't struggling day to day, like financially, like, but it can't fill any voids.
Yeah, I get it. It's like to be human is to like, why am I here? What do I care about?
And it's funny because I was actually listening to a podcast with Jason on the plane ride here that kind of like talked about this. Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a Joe Rogan podcast. They were talking about this and how like, you know, people strive for money, fame. I don't know if you're like a guy, like I don't know, you know, all these external.
I love your like hypothetically, I wouldn't know.
yeah. What do I know about that? But and like people, I'm plagiarizing from this podcast, but they were saying that like people view these things as valuable because they're difficult to attain, right? Money, status, stuff like that. So people view that as valuable. That's not true value. And like the people who get to that stage, I think a lot of times they realize like this isn't valuable. What's valuable is, you know, our relationships and, you know, our sense of self and pushing ourselves to do difficult things every day. Like that's true value.
It's interesting too, because in society, we tend to praise those who have reached those external markers of success, the very visible ones, much more than those who might have reached an internal level of self-understanding and security that maybe that's what we should really be aspiring toward, because that's much harder to. It's like, look at this guy. He doesn't have the most money, or to use your terminology, please don't cancel me. But like, he's like really secure. You don't see that as much. There's a saying, so there's this writer, now I'm going to take my quote from somebody who I read that I didn't come up with, David Foster Wallace. He gave a commencement speech, and he's the author of Infinite Jest, amazing writer. And he had a piece where he said, yeah, like you have to be careful in life what you worship, right? What if you let yourself really be drawn towards some external marker, because that which you worship is that which you will always chase for and forever feel deprived of. If you are always worshiping money, you will feel poor.
Yes.
If you're always worshiping looking great, you will feel ugly. If you're worshiping power, you will feel powerless. And
I love that.
Yeah, it's actually a lot to give up a lot of your own agency in the pursuit of a thing that you think is meaningful versus, to use your phrasing, hey, like, cool, so there's like a void I feel inside. Probably, you know, didn't grow up in a childhood of like fully unconditional supportive love. And like, I'm trying to fill that in some way. And okay, well, those things aren't going to fill it. Well, darn.
Yeah. Wow, this is getting deep. Definitely. And I think it's also interesting that you're right, that like, I think a lot of people don't see that. And again, it's because they're so caught up in the fact that these external factors are so difficult. Therefore, they must be something that you also strive for. But I do think it's interesting that like there is a correlation, right? A lot of the most self-actualized people are successful in terms of how society views success, right? They have, you know, financial freedom and all of that. And I don't think that is, you know, a coincidence. They have figured out. And so I'm sure they've also figured out, you know, how to leverage an audience or, you know, how to earn money and stuff like that. But yeah, you know how like the whole saying that like, what is it? Like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square.
I mean, you're right. A square is a rectangle.
It's not a saying, but like, you know.
Yeah, it's a mathematical thing.
Yeah, so like that kind of applies that like a lot of people who are self-actualized are also successful externally.
But not all self-actualized people are successful externally. Is that the fault?
I think. I kind of lost it. I got caught up in the whole
No, I get it. Like
thing. I think that's what I was going for.
We can really play this out. A lot of self-actualized people also happen to be successful. From an external perspective, quote unquote, but not all self-actualized people are successful from an external, quote unquote, perspective. And a lot of people who are successful externally might not be self-actualized.
Yes.
So they're just,
you did like, you paired one with every, Well, no, I think it's like, we look up to highly successful people, right? And so like, let's say, like, give me somebody that you look up to.
One of our mentors is this founder named Ryan Caldbeck, and I look up to him because not only did he build a company, but he's emotionally thoughtful and vulnerable and talks about the anxiety and fears and worries that he has. He has a lovely wife and a family, and I'm like, wow, from my perspective, he seems to quote unquote be doing it all, but it's more every time I talk with him, he cares about my feelings. So that's someone I look up to.
Well, let's say people see him and they don't know him super well. They would say, wow, I'm guessing he's very financially successful.
Yeah, I mean, he's founder and CEO of a company. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people would be like, wow, that's the first thing that they see. So it must be the money that makes people respect him. it must be, you know, the whole glamorous, I don't know. They see the external factors and they say like, wow, that's why people admire him. But it's like, no, like, I think a lot of times when you're self-actualized and you have your shit together and you like, you know, the money will follow. So it's more like sometimes I feel like I'm losing my train of thought. I feel like success, these like external factors of success are like an additional add-on, if that makes sense. So people value that.
It's like there's sort of 2 points you're making here. The first is like, okay, we really tend to value the external markers.
Correct.
Which actually you should care how they got there.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to like phrase and with like the last 5 minutes, and I was just going around in circles.
I get it. And like that has some really interesting implications because first it's like, well, as a society, maybe we should try and be better at valuing how people got there. But that's hard because that's not easy. That's not clickbait.
Yeah.
It's much simpler to be like, you have 4 or 5 million followers than to be like, Vanessa is someone who's working on filling the void in herself and balancing that against the desire for external validation, but also feeling good about where she is.
I love that. Yeah. I would click on that. Just kidding.
It's like, yeah, it's like, oh, wow, Vanessa looks super in shape. Well, actually, that's because she has body dysmorphia and she feels obligated to go through and wants you to look more at her fiance, Jason, who goes to the gym because he's just choosing to.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first point I was like, maybe from a societal perspective, can we get better at honoring that longer story, journey, and process?
Mm-hmm.
And the second is like, there's this weird little bit of doublethink where it's almost like, ironically, maybe this is your point, the way to actually get those external markers of success you care about is also to be internally aligned.
Yes.
But it's tricky because they don't perfectly map and you might not quite get it.
Instead, it's just like, look at this man with all of his money in his like that's so much.
And you're just like, well, how can I get there? And then you listen to him and he listens to a podcast and he's like, I got the money and my lovely female companions whom I respect very much as human beings, not by idolizing them, but by just following my own principles and discipline.
And then it follows. Yeah.
It's almost like, say you find someone who has the thing you want. Let's make this up. Let's say a billionaire. Say what you care about is money. You look at the billionaire, and the funny thing is, let's take Elon Musk. Very controversial figure right now. Let's be clear. But say someone's like, I wish I was like Elon Musk. Do you think Elon Musk became Elon Musk being like, I want to be like Elon Musk?
Yeah. I see where you're going with this.
Let me go turn on the lights, by the way.
Yeah. I was like, should I interrupt him and be like, it's getting a little dark in here? Also, how long do these usually last?
Usually like an hour.
Okay. Wait, how long has it been?
I
feel like it's been a long time.
We'll do a few more questions.
Okay.
Well, just because we just went on a really deep tangent.
We did.
We were connecting.
Oh, that's cute.
I love how as it progressively got deeper, it also got darker.
I know, it fits. It fits the
We
theme.
started off being like, hey, your blazer looks great. It's like Barbie. And then it got really dark. And we're like,
tell me about your deepest, darkest
the void
desire.
within me. I love it. Let's do a couple more. Let's jump to level 2 and then we'll jump to level 3.
Okay. We're jumping. All right.
Oh yeah, see, we didn't even need to go to level 2.
I love how we got so deep with level 1.
Yeah.
These were level 1. Come on.
This game was not meant for people of our skill level.
I told you I'm competitive.
Oh, yeah, but so am I. So that's exactly the problem we just spent 15, 20 minutes discussing how to solve.
Yeah, you're right.
Be like, oh, now that you mention it.
I know. I'm going to have to refer to this podcast like for myself. I feel like there's so many things like clicking in my head.
Hey, if anyone's watching, the takeaway is all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
Correct. And also are not what they're made up to be.
I feel so
I'm
not
gonna get
comfortable
canceled.
using that term and just
it's a joke.
Having it clipped out. So I'll say worthy female companions with whom you have respect as humans might not be the end goal in itself.
Don't cancel me. Okay.
That's how you avoid getting canceled. You say something and after it you just go, but don't cancel me, please.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do a couple more.
Okay.
Ooh, this is a good one. And you might have answered it, so if you feel like you've answered it sufficiently, we can do a different one.
Okay.
What are you still trying to prove to yourself?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think we definitely talked about this one a lot, but I guess that I'm trying to prove to myself that I would still be able to work hard and motivate myself if I'm not running away from something.
Yeah, I feel like I keep hearing this repeated theme from you where you're like, yes, I've accomplished so much. But I'm hearing from you, the story hearing from you is, and I value this less though, because I felt like I had to and it was driven from fear.
Yeah.
Versus Jason, who's waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning. It's precisely because he doesn't want to. That's what makes it worthwhile.
Exactly.
And I hear that. And I'm going to push back on that a little because, like, look, everything is still a choice, right? I understand you feel like you're coming from a place of the void, but at the end of the day, you're also still choosing to wake up and put in work and do all of those things. And I understand it's coming from a little bit of a place of, oh, if I don't, no one's going to love me and everything's but you're still choosing to do it.
Yeah.
There are people who feel those feelings and then, I don't know, they go kick rocks. So like maybe we can at least like honor that a little.
I do think, yeah, I'm giving myself a little bit of disservice here. I will say, like, most of the days I wake up, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, you're like,
I
am all that.
I'm a boss.
Hot pink blazer, Barbie vibes.
So like I do admire this in myself, right? I do admire that I'm a hard worker, regardless of why I'm a hard worker and all of that. I think it's just like myself. Like I just want it to come from a good place.
I get that. Can I ask, because you've mentioned you admire the fact you're a hard worker several times, what's something you admire about yourself that doesn't involve the word hard and worker?
Sorry. Yeah, I know. The whole podcast and be like, I'm a hard worker.
No, it's great. But I'm saying, okay, what's something you admire about yourself beyond just that, which is valuable and important?
Everything. Just kidding. I really like that I'm very goofy.
Just a silly, goofy mood.
No, yeah. So I definitely want to share this side of myself more, like on social media. Because again, like I think a lot of times when people are like, "Oh, Vivacious Honey," they think of like the stone face, like super like confident, like boom, boom. I don't know, person. But like as you can see, I'm like very bubbly and like goofy, and so I like that personality side of me.
I love the personality side of you too. I love her, like the Vivacious Honey persona does have personality.
No, it's funny. I like to call her my alter ego. Her name is Vivian.
Vivian. So you have Vanessa
and Vivian. It's because everyone online thinks my name is Vivian. So now I just pretend that she's Vivian. Yes.
I feel like if this was like a soap opera, you would have like long lost evil twin whose name is Vivian.
Yeah. Well, my clone. A lot of people also think I have a twin because I do the clone side by side videos.
Oh my gosh. I think I feel like, have you ever written a comment where like that's also still me or something? Or
it was my bio on TikTok was no, I don't have a twin.
That was it. Yeah. Because the editing is so great. And people are like, there's two of her.
Yeah. People would start like analyzing like, wait, but that one has a mark on her leg and that one also has a mark on her leg. Are they twins or what's going on? Yeah.
They're like, I'm not being racist, right? They look alike. It's like, it's like how dare you? Not all Asians look the same. These are different people. And you're like, oh no, that's literally just me edited into two frames. Correct. But okay. No, I'm noticing that too because obviously I'd seen your content and I love the you described it as boom, boom. Yeah.
I didn't know how else to like do
it. Those are the vibes. And the stone face, right? You referred to it, you called it as resting face. Yes. Right?
Yes.
And see now you're smiling. And I totally see the goofiness coming out. I'm appreciating it. I'm vibing. And I think viewers too, you know, when you're talking about all those bees, you know? I'm not going to say it.
All these bees.
That gets clipped. But I'm vibing with that. And I love you appreciate that about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll knock out a couple more.
Okay.
We're actually about an hour, and sometimes we go a little bit.
Okay.
It's only been an hour.
I feel like it's been 3 hours. I just like slowly see it start getting darker and darker. I'm like, oh my God, are we going to miss our reservation? Like what's going on?
No, it's only been an hour. I checked.
Okay.
This is Vanessa being like, when does this end?
Yeah. I'll blink twice if I need help.
Like, I love you like blinked once and then like one eye blinked, but the other
I know.
didn't.
I did like
You're like, is that a wink?
I'm also like kind of sleep deprived.
Okay.
So
okay.
this is
We'll do a couple more.
I'm just telling you why I'm like extra goofy. When I get like kind of sleepy,
Oh,
I
you're
get
loopy.
like hyper. Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
I love
definitely
it.
a little bit loopy.
No, I get
so
it.
I'm just, like,
No, it
warning
felt
you.
like time was going by because it was getting dark really fast. And it's like, I don't remember SpongeBob SquarePants, but it'd be like 3 years later.
Yeah, that's this. You should. Whoever edits this, can you put the 3 years later?
Oh, we 100%. We 100%. We're just, like I said, we're in a silly, goofy mood.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the only way when we talk about trauma, you gotta have a trauma sandwich. It's like
Yes.
fun.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
like when you watch horror movies and then afterwards you put on Arthur.
You know, I don't do that. But I guess you do.
I do.
Fun
I
fact.
thought that'd be relatable, but I guess not. I guess it's just a me
hey,
thing.
Wonderful kind of day. Hey, I love the meme where it's just Arthur's fist clenched.
Oh yeah, that one's good.
Yeah, that's true, Arthur.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna
So-
do one more level 2, and then we'll go to level 3.
Okay, so I read this one.
Yeah, pull it to level 2.
You try to take my card. It's
I-
rude.
Wow, so
Okay.
competitive.
When was this is weird. Okay.
We can do a
when,
different one if you don't like
Well,
it.
no, it's up to you. You're answering.
Okay.
When was the last time you surprised yourself?
So for most of my life, I like never tried to care about my appearance that much because I felt very self-conscious caring about my appearance because I felt very unattractive. And I'm like, as soon as I care more, then I have to like confront that more. And so like my hair for a long time was like, whatever, blah. But like about a couple weeks ago, I was at a convention, the Asian Hustle Network convention, and there's a couple creators there called 12 Pel, and they actually cut hair. They're barber creators. It's really cool. They're based in New York City. So what they do is they'll sit you down and like give you a haircut, and while they do the haircut, they'll like interview you about your life, and it'll like become a little mini like podcast episode, right? And it's neat because it's like the physical transformation of like this guy never got a haircut in his life to look how much better.
He looked like a hobo who got followed around places.
Did.
Too.
No, he doesn't look like a hobo, right? So I did that, and I was like, oh, I actually really like how this looks.
Mm.
And then I was like, oh, okay, but like this is all new to me. Turns out you have to like style it, or it doesn't look like how it did at the end of it. And I was like, oh, is there an easier way to deal it? And like, you should get a perm. I was like, I'll get a perm. This is the first thing I've ever done to my hair ever. And I'm just like so self-conscious. I'm just like, wow, like I care now about my hair. Like I can't just wake up in the morning and do whatever. And that surprises me. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna let myself care a little bit about it and see what happens there. So yeah, that surprised me.
Is that the perm?
Yeah, that's the
It looks good.
Thanks.
I like it.
Thank you.
So you have to take. So I've never had a perm, so you have to take care of it. Like when you wake up.
I mean, I'm learning, but like, yeah, apparently when you have a perm, you have to treat it like curly haired people treat their curly hair, which like
Does that make sense?
it does make sense, but like there's like things you got to do. You can't. I used to like wash my hair every single day, and apparently you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you wash your hair every day?
I am trying not to because and you're not supposed to do that.
Okay, so that's a yes.
Yeah, I basically do. No, I'm trying though. I'm trying to. You're supposed to like train your hair.
Yeah,
like,
it
get
sounds
used to
like
it.
you're like whipping your hair, like get into shape. No more showers for you.
Yeah. No, actually though.
No, it is. I
So,
looked it up. It is a thing.
Oh yeah. So I'm trying to do that, but it's not working very good.
I mean, I'm also struggling. I'm just like, I woke up today. I'm like, it's different from when he did it. And I like texted the barber. I'm like, how did you
Wait,
do
really?
it? Yeah. And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. So I'm learning. Well, when's the last time you surprised yourself?
Oh, I didn't think that you were gonna flip it on me, so I wasn't preparing.
Who would have thought?
I know I wasn't preparing. Oh. No, I don't want to go back to being a hard worker. I want to move on.
Now I feel bad. I've roasted you so hard for being a hard
no.
worker. You're like, I can't say that anymore.
I can't. It's taboo now. No. I'm trying to think though. When is the last time I surprised my?
Look, if you want to go back to the hard worker part, yeah, allowed to.
No, I gotta think of something else. Make
This
it a
is
little bit juicy.
Safe space. Ooh, juicy. Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I don't have
All right.
anything. Wait, why is this like so hard? Wait, let me
Maybe
think
you
about
just know yourself real. You do seem very self-aware.
it. Really? Well, thank you. I don't know. Maybe even something like this, I would say. Yeah, I don't know. I guess like I do get extremely anxious. And so when I find myself getting comfortable in a situation like this, I'm like, oh wow, like, huh, I did it. Okay, like that wasn't too bad. Like I got it over. Like even like going to events, like influencer events, I get so anxious, so nervous. I went to a couple today, and at the end of it, I was like, huh, like wow, like I did good. Like I was able to socialize and talk to people. Like wow, I'm able to do that. So I guess something like that.
Wait, that's really wholesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Good on you for getting through the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. The podcast wasn't too bad. I guess like
As we're in it right now. She's like,
it's terrible. I'll blink twice again. No, but like when I go to like events, I get a lot of social anxiety sometimes, especially with like large crowds. So like introducing myself to people or like, you know what's like super awkward when you're like in a big social setting and everyone's already in their own little cluster
They
of
know
conversations.
everybody already.
That, but also it's like when you need to interrupt a conversation between like two people. Like for instance, there were some people that I knew at the event today, and so I go on to say hi, but they were like in a conversation, so it's like, oh, should I interrupt now? Like, and they're just kind of like standing in the vicinity, really awkward, and they know that you're waiting, and like it's just super awkward. But I got through it.
Fuck yeah!
Like, wow, I did it. Let me go.
I also have anxiety when I'm meeting new people. Gosh, when I was downstairs and I was in my PJs and there were 4 people I haven't met there before, I was like,
you've met
hello.
me, just not in real life.
Not in real life. Isn't that how people meet?
I guess, but it's not like I'm
versus
a total
like
stranger.
Email.
Plus, at this point, what is this game called?
We're not really strangers.
See, now we're not.
Okay, well now not
okay.
anymore. Well, now we're gonna go to dinner, and I know you pretty well.
True.
Actually, I know OT. I know
my
OT.
voice.
I know you. I know your voice. I know OT pretty well, but I don't know Jason or Julia as well.
That's true.
And for context, Jason is her fiance,
bling,
and Julia is OT's partner.
Yes.
And OT helps you with your business.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, let's do last one, level 3. Well, we'll do 1 or 2. I guess I'll pull.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like this one. We'll take turns.
Oh, okay.
It's very relevant. How would you describe me to a stranger?
Okay. He has a perm and he wears V-necks, and sometimes he wears tank tops. He's wearing glasses. No, let me think.
Reduce to the external markers that we just talked about.
So sorry. He gets all the B's. I was kidding. Okay.
I do not get the B's for those of you watching.
Let me think. Very self-aware. Very successful, both in terms of how society views success and I think like what's truly valuable. I feel like, yeah, you're very, again, self-aware in the sense of like, you know what you need to work on, which is really admirable. You don't seem like the type of, again, I don't know you like super, super well, but you don't seem like the type of person to not admit that they were wrong. Like you seem like the type of person who would admit their faults. But then again, you did say you were very stubborn because of your dad. So now I'm like conflicted information, but that's how you come off to me. Yeah. And if you didn't tell me that you had anxiety, I wouldn't have known because you seem very sure of yourself.
So funny because so many of those things I'd say the same with you.
Oh, wow.
So I think I would describe you to a stranger as a kindred spirit.
Aww.
Who's similarly figured out in this cruel, dark, scary world of ours with strangers and things we can't control, coming from places of worry and anxiety and scarcity and Asian parents, a way to navigate it, balancing the desire for success and seeming, I think the term we used for your videos was boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. While also maintaining and protecting that inner little more fragile, but also very real, like just an inner child being like, but what do I care about? What do I want to do? And figuring out how to do the two of them together. That's how I describe you.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was good. You just kind of like wrapped up this whole episode.
Yeah. All right. Shall we?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Round. Wait.
Oh, one more. Oh, okay. I thought that was your segue to be like, Eric, I'm done. Please let me go sleep.
No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Guys, everybody, he just tried to cut me off because he wants to win the game.
I thought that was Vanessa signifying that she was ready.
When I'm done, I'll tell you.
Wait,
okay,
you literally said a nice way to wrap it up.
I meant that you just took that. Listen, okay, anyways, we're going to move on.
We'll do a couple more. We're going
to move on. Okay. If you could prescribe me one thing to do. Ooh, I like this. If you could prescribe me one thing to do for the rest of this month, what would it be and why?
Do you already do therapy?
Yes, I do.
Good for you. So do
Thank
I. So I
you.
can't recommend that to you. So let me think of another one. So something I've done over the past few weeks, which I've really enjoyed, I've started just doing like phone calls with friends. Never really did this before. It's like a foreign concept to me, but I kind of like it. It's like much more personable voice than text. And so, maybe, well, I wouldn't say every day. That's a lot, but maybe every week, call up an old friend, get in a phone conversation with them, shoot the shit, What do you say?
I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you the type of person to do voice memos?
Okay, so this is like a whole thing.
Okay, I've opened up the Pandora's box.
So okay, I will say a lot of people leave me voice memos, not like in a, hey, let's catch up, but like, hey, I have something I want to communicate to you sort of way. And I'm like, my friend, like, I love you, but I'm so busy. And like, I cannot listen to your 3-minute voice memo in the middle of the day. It will take me 3 times as long to get back. But you do you. Even though I wish there was a subscription service. But from a friendship perspective, so one of my friends, her name's Chloe, and she's on Instagram under the handle The Chlo Bro. It's kind of an amazing name. Yeah, so she left me a voice memo. She was playing this game with her friend. It said, call a friend and tell them that, what you mean to them and such. And so she called me, and she obviously knows working, so she left a voice memo. I was like, wow, like no one leaves me voice memos. So I left her one back, and she was so happy about it. She's also a content creator, so she made a reel about her day. And in one of them, she asked my permission beforehand. She included the voice memo that she had sent me and I had sent her back.
Yeah.
Very wholesome. But then some of my other friends saw it and they're like,
oh,
wow,
no.
like you leave voice memos for Chloe, but you don't do voice memos with me?
How dare you?
The absolute nerve. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy to do voice memos. And now I'm doing voice memos like with a couple friends. Actually, there's one friend in particular where I was doing voice memos for it. Now they've that's the one where it became like phone calls. There's like a natural progression because at one point we were leaving like 10-minute voice memos for each other. And, I love her. I think she's great. And, it's a lot. It's a lot to sit there.
I dodged and weaved.
I know, you did dodge it. It's a lot to sit there for 10 minutes and be like, all right, it's here. And then to have the confidence and chutzpah to be like, and she's going to want to listen to 10 minutes of my little voice going on and on. So we just ended up doing phone calls. So
I like that.
So yeah, do you have a friend in mind that you're going to try and maybe give a call this week or the next?
I do. Well, I call my best friend probably like once a month, but I could definitely up that. And it is really nice, I would say. Like I feel like I am an introverted extrovert.
I am an extroverted introvert.
Oh wait. Does the order matter?
I mean, at the end of the day, you're an extrovert who happens to be introverted. I'm an introvert who happens to act extroverted. We're similar.
But what's the
We're like,
oh, I just threw out the two randomly though.
I mean, the order obviously matters. When does the order not matter?
I don't know. Because if it's just like I'll just explain. You tell me what I am. I get he's confused. He's like, oh my God, this is so complicated.
I was like, wow, this woman is like, you do the work.
Yeah, basically.
Did it throw you some words around squares and rectangles and figure out what I'm trying to say? Yeah.
I get energized by socializing with people, but I have a very short time span where when that time is over, like I'm like, done, no more.
I think you are like me. Like,
okay.
Because as introverts, we're very sensitive, right? Which is why we are great in one-on-one conversations. But that's also why when there's a lot of stuff going on, we get burned out really fast. But like, we like people. We're not shy per se. We like people. We like interacting. We like knowing what's going on. It's just, certain point, gotta go back to my PJs. Gotta leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. So the reason I bring this up
I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Is like the whole phone call thing. I do feel like I should do that more often because at the end of the day, like most of my days are just me, my cat, and Jason. Oh, and Jane now, which is actually
I love how
really
you put
helpful.
the cat above Jason.
I know.
Ouch. No.
Stewie, you're my number one. But anyways, well now I have Jane, which actually helps a lot. I guess it was like realizing that I needed more of like a human
right
Jason's not human enough for me, you know. I'm just kidding. It's just like having somebody else to kind of like bounce ideas off of and like kind of like talk to. So yeah, so having Jane has been really nice to kind of like interact.
A little bit of human interactivity.
Yeah, other than just a cat, and Jason is great, but you know.
The cat got mentioned first again, but
I know.
all right, last one. Let's do it.
Wait, no, but you.
Oh yeah, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Sorry, wait. What? Yeah.
I'm gonna prescribe
you're gonna
you
prescribe
something.
me. Yes, please, Dr. Vivacious Honey.
I'm going to prescribe you heavy meds. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You're
joke.
like cocaine.
Cocaine. Molly. No, do you?
I love the British accent with which you said Molly, because you know all
Molly.
doctors are British.
Yeah. Duh. Okay. But anyways, we're being serious here. I would prescribe you. Do you do like fitness classes?
No, I just have a garage gym that I go work out in. Yeah.
I would say try a class. Have you done like a class before?
Not really. Oh, I did take some aerial yoga. I once took a pole dancing class. It was really
Did
hard.
you?
It was really hard.
Really
I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. I really admire that you can. I can't.
Thank you. Well, I'm still like a novice, but yeah.
It's hard. I thought like if you're not that hard, I'm reasonably in shape. I was like, oh, this can't be hard. And then I'm like, I'm dying.
A lot of it's like pain tolerance.
It is
too.
painful. Like the pole, it's like really like painful.
Yeah. Did you do sorry, we're going on a whole tangent. Did you do pole sits in your class?
No, I don't think I couldn't even get past the part where you hold the pole and you like rotate around. You're grossly overestimating my pain tolerance.
Pole sits are like so free. Do you know what that is?
No, what is it? So here's like the pole.
Here's the pole. These are my legs, okay? Like that.
Wow.
You're like levitating, so your like body's upright and you're like holding on. But yeah, you're basically just squeezing the pole between your thighs, and you have to like tilt so that there's like friction and stuff, so you don't just like slide off.
See,
Very
men
painful.
have something in between their legs
Yeah.
that might get in
Listen
their
though,
way,
one of my
know?
pole instructors was a man, but he had to completely shave his legs because the hair. I don't think that like works out.
I'm not prepared to make that sacrifice to do a
Okay,
pole sit,
but listen, I'm
thank
not
you.
prescribing you a pole class, just like any fitness class. And I'm not saying like you in particular, you need to take a class. I just like for me, it's been really helpful, like I said, to like completely just take your mind off of something. And I do feel like it's like different than, at least for me, like lifting by myself at the gym. Because even in between my sets, I'll be thinking about other.
Oh, I do that all the time. I actually do work. I actually go on Slack in between my sets.
I do too. Well, I used to like catch up on my comments and like DMs and like little emails and like little miscellaneous tasks in between sets. But that's one of the things that I delegated to Jane, which has been really amazing to kind of like.
Shock to all your followers.
I
it's
know.
Jane replying. It's not her to a million people.
Sorry. Some of it is. Some of it. When it's like a quick, hey, where'd you get this blazer? Or like, oh, hey, like, what's the link to this? Just be like, hey, here's a link. Stuff like that. All the personal stuff is me. Don't worry, guys. But so that's been really helpful to kind of like keep my mind focused on something. But I would say like doing a class, like an hour-long class, like if you're literally sweating balls on a bike or whatever, and you're like just killing yourself over this workout, like you're not going to be thinking about work. And it's amazing.
I like that. I went swimming in the ocean a few times with a friend a couple of years ago, and I was so afraid of dying that I also wasn't thinking about work. So
okay, that's a little drastic.
yeah.
If it has to take you to the point where you're afraid of dying
Vanessa,
tonight,
maybe that's just what I need.
no, I would not. You're gonna,
No. Everyone heard it first. Vanessa prescribed me to
death.
put my life at risk in extreme
it's
physical
like,
workouts to avoid thinking about anxiety.
Have you watched like Twilight or
Of course, I've read the book.
Okay, all of the books.
Yes, all of the books
Okay,
except for the ones
so-
from Edward's perspectives, the new ones.
Okay, I don't even know it's a thing. But in New Moon, where at the beginning, like Edward leaves her and she has to put herself in these dangerous situations to like think about him or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I vaguely remember this. I read it like 7 years ago.
She like jumped off a cliff. She like went on this random dude's motorcycle. She like put herself in really dangerous situations. Anyways, that's what it's reminding me of.
You know the scene, helpful. You know the scene I remember most from Twilight?
Well, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't
Okay.
do that.
You're
Okay.
like, that's what you don't do.
Yeah.
The scene I remember most from Twilight is when Jacob, our werewolf best boy, although he's not a true werewolf, we found that out later. He's a child of the moon. That's okay. Plot point.
What?
Spoilers. They're not true werewolves.
Since when was this addressed?
This was like in the last book.
Clearly, I need to like brush
Yeah,
up on
wow,
my
you're
Twilight
not
lore.
even a
Okay, sorry.
Twilight fan.
Continue.
Anyways, so Jacob, as you know, so like he wants to get with Bella, but Bella's with Edward. And Jacob tries to forget her and like literally goes and gets like a luxury car, like goes shirtless. He's super jacked. He drives around to a park and he just like stands there. And like obviously beautiful women come over and try and hang out with him. And he's like interacting with them. And he's like, oh, they're just like, this one's really into me. And he's like, I could date her. And he's just like, but I only care about Bella. And I don't know. That scene just really stuck in my mind. I guess I found it far easier to relate with Jacob than I did with Edward, who's basically perfection incarnate.
I see.
So that's my Twilight
Other than the
story.
fact that he is like, what, 100-something-year-old? It's like a 17-year-old.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, but
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, other than that, he is perfect.
he is perfect.
But
Jason has a lot to live up to.
I know, for real. Wait, so you're team Jacob?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm not.
Well, I knew this wasn't going well. We can stay strangers after this.
Okay, fine.
Team Edward?
I think so.
The creepy 105-year-old?
I know. I think it's just
help it.
because I think he's more attractive, like in the movie.
I'm not looking at the actors. I'm going from the books.
Okay.
Like a true fan.
Well, listen. Okay, I read the books first, I think.
You're not sure.
I'm not sure, to be
confident
honest.
at all.
But then, like, you can't unsee the actors once you've watched. Did you just check the time?
I did check the time. She caught me. You're the first person who has ever in the history
That
of the-
was so rude.
I've done. No, you know
I'm
why?
out.
You know why? Because your fiance is downstairs waiting for dinner.
Oh yeah, are we late?
We'll have time for one more question. That's the reason
Okay.
why I could do this all day.
I will give you a pass just this once.
You're
but
the
if I
first
catch
person-
it again, I swear to God, I'm
literally
deleting this
you're
footage.
literally the first person. I've done this like a lot. You're the only one who's ever caught
Maybe
me.
they just like maybe they like caught you but just didn't say
No,
anything.
I think they would have said something.
Really?
Yeah, we promote
You
honesty
you
in the
didn't
safe
do it
space.
discreetly though. You were like,
Okay, no, it's because we have 3 people. Yeah, just like, oh, let me look at
what?
that.
Well, look at the
Shadows
time.
again.
Oh yeah.
It's because I'm courteous of the 3 people downstairs who are
Fuck
like,
them.
what
Just
the
kidding.
are
I
they
want dinner
talking
too.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and here we are talking about like, here's my favorite like Twilight fan story.
This is important stuff. Like this is worth
But
them
Vanessa,
waiting
this
for.
This is a true compliment. I genuinely think we could just keep going.
I think so too.
See, like, I feel like we're really hitting our stride, like an
Yeah.
hour and
Right
20
now.
minutes in.
Yeah.
This is where
This is
it
what the
starts to get
people
good.
need. They need this Twilight
Yeah, they
stuff.
think they need lessons on mental health and filling the
No.
void within. What
No, they
they
don't.
really need is,
Twilight.
are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? Because
way more
if you're Team
important.
Edward, you're just wrong, and you're Team Jacob, then we
Excuse
can be
you.
friends.
Okay, you need to stop talking about this now, or else this will continue.
He
forever
glitters in the
because
sun. That's not even practical. You have to
Okay,
wear
yeah, it's
sunglasses
not.
just to look
It's
at him.
not.
He's
Listen.
cold to the touch. He
Listen.
can read your mind. That is an invasion of privacy.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree, but I'm still Team Edward. What can I say?
Jacob is loyal and warm to the touch and just
He's
a
like a
good
little
guy.
clingy. I'm like one of those stereotypical girls who like see all these red flags and they're like, "Yep, him."
We're learning a lot about Jason right now, too.
No, Crap, for real.
I'm kidding.
Woo, woo. Okay.
All
So
right,
anyways.
one more.
Okay.
As much as I like to keep going, we
I
have
know.
friends beneath us, literally in the floor below.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna find, since this is gonna be the last one, I'm gonna pull one that I really like.
Isn't that like cheating? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll let you.
Ooh. Okay. This one. Is this a good one?
I like this one more.
Okay, we're gonna do this. I'm just kidding.
Did you see what happened? What? What
Okay,
a-
read the
what a
card.
troll,
Read
what
the
a troll.
card.
I think this is a good one to end on versus
Okay.
like, let's end on an argument around Team Edward versus Team Jacob.
Yes.
'Cause
Cliffhanger!
I'm pretty sure that's what everyone watching this pod wanted to hear about. Not your work or you
No, none
or
of that.
me.
It's not
It was
important.
about Twilight.
Yeah. We should leave it on a cliffhanger. Anyways.
Okay, all right.
go ahead.
When in this game did you feel most connected to me?
When we're talking about Twilight, no.
You, Vanessa.
I think it was hearing you talk about, well, your upbringing. Like, obviously, like, I really, really resonated with that, like, a lot. So kind of just hearing how we had, like, similar, I guess, like, journeys overall of, like, valuing all of these external factors because of the way we were raised, a lot of it. And then realizing that it wasn't end all be all. It can't fill the the void. So yeah.
I feel, same for me, especially when you talked about your example where you said you see Jason going to the gym and then you look at yourself doing it because you feel like you have to. That's a lot of what I think about too. It's right about freedom to choose the challenges and burdens you want to take on. And is it really freedom if you're pressured to do things from our own insecurities and doubts, right? How do we move past that? The external markers might look good, but you and I know deep down why we're doing things and how we want to change.
Yeah. Now that wrapped up this episode perfectly.
Team Jacob forever.
Team Edward. All right, bye.